Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Coach Chris here from AccuTrader.net, um, coming at you with a video. It's Saturday morning, February 8th, 2025 at 7:20 a.m. Central Daylight Time. I, I've been looking at this chart since market close yesterday. This is a 5-minute chart of the MNQ March 2025 expiration contract. And quite frankly, yesterday was a day that I think needs to go down in history as one of the most amazing trading days. I guess I'm kind of a sick person. I just love trading so much and love doing technical analysis. And this was absolutely amazing. And when I say that in terms of directional movement, we had big up moves, big down moves, big sideways moves. Um, and at huge moves. You look at this is a 5-minute candle of the March contract NQ futures or micro Nasdaq in this case, and it started right at 7:30 right here when we had a news. And look at this news candle. It's almost a doji candle, which and I'll explain what that means. We from top to bottom, from the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, that was 131 points of movement, all encompassed in 5 minutes. And we end up with a candle body that is less than 10 points tall. So what that means is I was trading during this time. What it did was it I believe it was immediately shot down like 50 points. Let me just see what that would have been. Yeah, like about 50 points. It just shot down and then retraced quickly, went up about 60 points, and ended up closing almost on top of itself. Normally, what we'll get is we'll get a big candle here, but it'll be pretty much more directional, meaning that we end up with big wicks on both sides, but a bigger candle body that favors one direction or the other. And in this case, we didn't get it. Then the next candle did start about 3/4 of the way down on this big candle, but then immediately the buyers started to step in. This is at about 7:30, 7:40, and it slowly grinded itself up here till the market open, which is at 8:30 my time. And then we had this big opening candle to the upside, 80-point initial candle. And I thought, well, we're off to the races. They love the news, and this thing is going higher and going to set records. Well, little did we know that at, I think it was 10 o'clock Eastern, there was more news. I think it was the Michigan sentiment was going to be coming out. So you can see here when it started to consolidate, people knew that news was coming, but they didn't know if it was going to continue going up or down. So they just kind of kept it kind of going sideways. I just want to measure one thing. From the time this news candle closed up until the peak, we had 150 points of movement. So we had 100 points with this candle up and down. And then from the low here after the news candle to the high, we had another 100 and some points. Then at 9 a.m., it was off to the frickin' races to the downside. The news came out and the market immediately hated it. So we had a 50-point down candle and a 200-point, no, a 50 and 150-point down candle. So another 200 points of movement, this time to the downside. So we had 100, 150, that was 250 plus another 150, 250. So 250, 350, 450, 500 points of movement, and it's still before 10 a.m. in the morning. I mean, it was crazy. What had happened when this news came out, apparently it was bad. I mean, very bad in the sense that the market had been pricing in, I think it was 5 price cuts by the Fed this year, meaning that as long as inflation stayed down, the unemployment rate stayed where it's at, they anticipated that we were going to get 5 rate cuts. Well, this news apparently was so bad that they now think we may not get any or only get like one price cut for the year. And so the market had to adjust and hedge itself. And where do they go to do that? Futures. And so these I'll show you what these long. I apologize. This is my chart I had marked up by the end of the day. It got so crazy. I was going at such lightning speed trying to catch some of these moves. And I'll just show you what this is. This is a bear flag formation here, and this shows once this flag here is broken to the downside in this case, that's where you want to get in. We're below all the moving averages in the VWAP here. And so once it breaks this trend line here, we know we're going to get movement. We don't know how much, but in this case, it was a whopper. So from the break of that trend line down to the bottom, that was another 100-point move. I got some of it. I think I got 35 points, and then I chickened out on it because the market had been changing directions and moving so much so quickly. I didn't want to get caught off sides because I had such a great morning. I didn't want to give those profits back. But you'll see how this formates. So this is the flag pole, they call it. And what a flag movement is consolidation then. So what the market does is it releases its energy in these big moves. Well, at some point it runs out of that energy. And so what it needs to do is gather up more energy for the next move. We don't know which way that move is going to be, whether it's going to be to the upside or the downside. But you can see here what was happening. It was making kind of lows. And if you look at the bottom of these candles, it was forming kind of a angle to the upside. So if it's a pull down with an angle to the upside like this, that's a bear flag. And so we got the down movement, and then we had this consolidation here again, almost the same thing. So big down movement, consolidation, bear flag setup, break of the trend line, big pull. And then the same thing happened during this consolidate. You can see how this area here is pretty much flat. It never got above it. And the same thing here. If I just move that up there, you can see how those are all kind of with the wicks through. It just couldn't get any momentum going to the upside. Same here. Everything flat, no momentum to the upside. And you can see it's coiling just like a spring would coil. And then it's gotta break. And so it did at this trend line. And then from the break there, you can just see one green candle in a, what is that, hour period, and another move down of 83 points. Then this was the crazy thing that I never expected. I stopped trading at this point. By right in here, I was done. It was just getting too crazy. I had some options, though, that I was playing that turned out to be good. You can see here from these lows, these two wicks here, to there, we had another 80-some point move to the upside. It just slowly recouped some of that down movement, but you notice where it stopped? The same point over here where the tops of those candles were, same thing here. It just ran out of steam. It did not have enough. Buyers could not force it back up. And so what do we get? We get exhaustion. Huge down candle, a 70 point, and it gave back all of that it had gained and more. And then it just kind of trickled into the close. I mean, this was insane, and it looks like next week we may get more insanity. There's a lot of some other big news coming out, and with what's going on in Washington right now, it's just going to be a free-for-all. So some advice. Always be aware of news. I know for a fact that this Michigan sentiment caught a lot of people off guard. I always get out. I don't care what the news is, if it's a Red Star or even medium impact news, get out of the market. Trading the reaction to the news will always yield you better results than trading the news itself. The reason? The news is unexpected. If you said, oh, well, geez, we had such a big run up, the market is in a buying mood, the bulls are in charge of this market, I'm going to take a long here, and I'm going to oversize, and I'm going to hit a home run with this news, and instead you got it shoved right up your you-know-what. So Just be cautious with news. The market is going to market, and you don't know what the reaction is going to be. What is sometimes considered positive news can be reacted in a very, very negative way, which was the case yesterday. So, um, lots of opportunities here. Even if you're trading a micro at $2 a point, there was $800 of available profit right within the first hour, hour and a half of trading. One micro is $2 a point. Now you're not going to connect all that, but the greed kills, and that's what the problem with most traders is. You don't have to catch every last minute or have to think you got to get in at exactly the right spot. You don't. Then if you traded, you many people trading just two micros. I'll tell you what I made in a minute on this trading. I was trading very small, and two micros. You could easily make $1,000 here, and you wouldn't have to catch all of the moves. I ended up with around $800 in there, being very conservative. I had no losses, and that was within hour and a half, 2 hours. Sure, if you got a bigger account, size up. But I don't. People get a little skewed. They think, oh, geez, I got to make 1,000, 2,000 a day. Well, that's great. If you can do so without risking your money, more power to you. But I think anybody, if you can make $800 a day, that should satisfy most people, I would think. So, what a great day! I will be back next week. I've got some exciting things I've been working on. When you're working on products and working on different strategies, a lot of people don't realize the amount of time that goes into it, because you don't want to release something that you haven't tested under virtually every different condition, and that takes time. Just running these back tests that people run on Ninja and other things, I don't hold a lot of weight in them always, because there's no way it's the same as trading in a live environment. And so I test all of my things in a live environment, and if they don't hold up, I can't release it, obviously. And so before I release anything, I release it with video proof of that the system works, and my results show that I'm onto something pretty big here. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.